Hello, Pirate family, and welcome to the first video update of the 21-22 school year. And it's been just about 2.5 months since the last update that I provided. And in that time, I sure hope you and your family have enjoyed this beautiful Michigan summer that we've had, and that you've had some time just to spend decompressing, taking time with your families, getting some rest, relaxation, and having a lot of fun. And at the same time, we here at Pinckney Community Schools have been working hard to get things ready for the school year, starting in just about 3 weeks. And to be honest with you, things are a little bit different than what we forecast and what we were hoping for in June. And I think we're still going to be in a better place long term, but obviously we've got a new challenge ahead of us and decisions to make and things that we have to consider as we open up the school year. And so that's the purpose of this video, is to provide some context, especially with the information regarding masks and our expectations. A couple weeks ago, I sent out a joint newsletter from the 5 superintendents and LESA regarding our intentions for the school year in following the state expectations for mask wearing, following the recommendations that we've been given, into asking those who are not vaccinated to wear masks, but also now transitioning to recommending those who either been vaccinated or not vaccinated to wear masks, given the increase in the Delta variant. So I want to provide some more context with that, a little bit behind our decision making, the data that we're looking at, and then just kind of address some of the issues that connect with that. I'm not going to be providing all the information that you're going to need for the school year. That's going to come over a period of time. But I thought at this point in time, given just some of the emails that we're getting, questions, obviously from concerned parents, concerned community members, I just felt there was a time to go ahead and share this information. I will start off by saying, I am frustrated with the position that school has been put in. Throughout this, we've leaned on the medical experts to help guide us, which is what we do with any communicable disease or any kind of health issue or crisis that we're facing. And at this point in time, it's been handed to us. And really, we feel, and I feel personally, that, whether it's the federal level, CDC, the state level in our health department, or at the local level, that if a crisis is occurring, that we should get the directives on what has to happen in terms of the medical preparedness and the things that we have to do to help mitigate the spread, or just to keep everybody safe. And right now, the expectations has been recommendations. And with those, stating right from the literature I'm reading off of, we should be taking the level of community transmission in high regard when we're making our decisions. So all the plans from school to school districts are going to look a little bit different, which makes it difficult because people are going to pit and they're going to take a look at this school district compared to this school district. Same thing happened last year when people were going virtual and face-to-face. I was getting pressure to not have school face-to-face last year. And, we had neighbors not too far from us who were making that their decision, and we chose to go a different direction. And I think that was the right one for us and for those in Livingston County. And we're hoping to kind of follow suit as well. But I do acknowledge that the worry that parents have is real, and the concern. And it's very difficult when we watch the news and we hear the things coming from the CDC or, from a national level. And I'm going to share just a little information just to kind of put it in perspective too, from Livingston County compared to really those areas that are being hit hard throughout portions of the United States. And I'm going to use the CDC website, the COVID trackers, just kind of information that we're looking at, and I'm looking at personally as well. So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to share my screen right now. And what I've done is, before I get into the Livingston County data, is I was curious about what does it look like in comparison to those places that we know are really struggling down south. And Louisiana is a state that we know is definitely going through some major challenges. And so with this website that everybody can access on their own, you can type in any state here and in any county, and here in this instance, it's a parish. And I just picked East Baton Rouge because it looked familiar to me. I've never been to Louisiana. I'm not really that familiar, but there's a lot of great information about vaccines, the percents that you can take a look at. But these graphs here tell a little bit of the story of every individual area. And, here, when we see what the CDC put out, they're putting out guidelines for the entire nation, and knowing that every individual area is a little bit unique and different, whether it could be a little worse or it could be better. And so I just wanted to get some perspective from my own position here as superintendent. So I pulled up, just down south Louisiana, and taking a look at the number of cases. And this one's really glaring. The number of cases, I think, is important. And we can see the spike that they're experiencing here currently down in Louisiana. But what's really thing noticeable is this spike is higher than anything they've experienced throughout this whole pandemic, going all the way back to April of 2020. And I think there's right for concern. And this trend is not just specific to this area. This is what they're seeing in a lot of portions of the southern states here in the United States of America. And so as I scroll down, and you can see, the percent positivity rates. And positivity rates are something that we still look at. I've learned a lot about positivity rates. And so it's, once again, looking at perspective and numbers of population, number of tests, and where that number comes from. And you can see their testing volume. But also, I think it's important to note that, and this is something we did look at last year, was really the impact on our health system, our hospitals, beds availability, is something that we took in high consideration last year as well. And here you can see the dramatic spike that they're experiencing from just new hospital admissions to the percent of their overall beds being used, and then their ICU beds. And so, obviously there is cause for great concern because we're seeing a very drastic increase in these three areas. And so that's what I think is being reported. That's what we're hearing. And I've got to be very careful myself to saying, okay, I can't respond to this because I got to take a look at what's our transmission rate here in Livingston County. It's not minimizing the severity of the Delta variant and what we're seeing in terms of the spread. And now what we're learning as well from those who are vaccinated as well. So definitely try not to minimize any of that. So please, I hope you know that. And as I switch to Michigan really quick, excuse me, and I'll just scroll down here to Livingston County. So this is the data that I obviously look at each and every day, and my county counterparts as well. So same information is presented here in terms of vaccinations, things that sort. So I'm just going to scroll down and take a look at Livingston County. And this is from January 21st to just as recently as the Sunday, August 8th. So we can see kind of the pattern that we've gone through all the way from April, and the spikes that we encountered and we had to live through this past year. But then we can see in July that, but we do see a little bit of an uptick here, but it's not as significant as others are experiencing. And it's, the transmission rate is still relatively low here in Livingston County. And that's coming from the experts at the Livingston County Health Department as well. So there's worry about where things may go, but as of today, it's not as severe as we're hearing each and every day that we turn on the news. And so I just want to preface that. So it's 169 new cases here, and it is a change because we did, you can see the 67% increase because we kind of bottom out here and we're seeing an uptick as well. So that's data that take a look at. The positivity rate has gone up here as well, but what I've learned in this past year is our positivity rate increases quite significantly, quite quickly because of just a smaller number of people we have living here, and just a small number of tests that are actually occurring and being taken. And so it's just simply an average of the number of tests, and then you have the number of tests positive. So we're seeing an uptick here, but we're really kind of paying attention to the number of new cases as well. That number is very valuable. And then taking a look at similar information here with our hospital admissions, looking at the whole picture in the graph. And as you can see here, been 10 hospital admissions. We can see the spikes here. There's definitely an increase, but then there's been 10 here in Livingston County. In terms of the beds used, you can see a little uptick here. And then the ICU beds, we can see an increase here. It is important to know when you look at this data, there's only 6 ICU beds here. I did verify that as well. So it doesn't take much to get those numbers to increase. And so, but we are taking a look at this data, but overall, we are taking a look at the number of cases and that trend that I go back up here that we're seeing in this area. So that's one piece of data that we're looking at because of our location. And also when I look at hospitals, I know a lot of our folks frequent those hospitals in Washtenaw County, St. Joe's and U of M, but also Washtenaw County is just a couple miles south of us. That's another piece of data that I look at specifically. And so as we're scrolling down and taking a look here, obviously it's a much bigger county in terms of population, but you're going to kind of see very similar. There's not a whole lot of variance there in terms of where they're at. and they're increasing their number of cases. Obviously, they have higher number, just I think it's reflective of their higher population. Very similar. You can see their percent positivity rate stays lower. And that is just simply because, once again, it's just a bigger group of people that they're looking at. So the averages and those rates tend to be lower with their testing volume there in terms of the number of tests taken. And then taking a look at the hospital admissions and the percent of beds used, you can see relatively low in comparison to where we were at. And so we definitely don't ever want to revisit that, but there's definitely been a little bit of an uptick, but we're nowhere near where we were in previous months. And, we're not going to say that it's not going to get there. That's not where we're at today. So we've learned that looking at the data that we have today, making decisions for today that very well could change in the very near future. So we're used to that, we're accustomed to that, and we expect it, to be honest with you. And so that's the data that we look at, looking at data from, just outside of Michigan, then looking at Livingston County data, and then just some of our neighbors as well. So this is what's been driving us to say, okay, we understand there's a concern. We understand all the components of it. Right now in Michigan, there's recommendations for masks. And so that's where we are heading in terms of, at this point in time, recommending that everybody that comes into a building in Pinckney Community Schools wears a mask. It's not requiring, it's not a mandate, but in an effort to keep everyone as safe as possible, we are strongly encouraging that folks, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, wear a mask. Visitors, when you come into the building, to wear a mask. I know myself, when I am out and about in the building with students, hallways, that I'll be wearing a mask. And and I'm sure you're going to see several adults doing that, and students as well. And I know parents have concerns about, maybe there's the potential of students, maybe experiencing some bullying or teasing about wearing masks. My hope is that we've created a culture of like, hey, we're all in this together, and working with kids and understanding that this is a situation where some are going to choose to wear masks, and for years on out, people may choose to wear masks for a variety of reasons. And so this is kind of the new, call it the new norm of where we're at. So we have to understand, we have to have a respectful environment. Kids are going to see, adults wear masks. They're going to see me wear a mask. They may see their principal wear a mask, their teacher wear a mask. And I don't think that's going to be as big of an issue as some may be fearing that it's going to be. And I also just think our principals and our teachers do a great job creating healthy, safe cultures and communities within our schools. And so, so I just want to, reiterate our plan as of today, and I'm recording this on Tuesday, August 10th, is to continue with the recommendations that are consistent in pretty much every facet of our life, is that please strongly consider wearing a mask when you're here in Pinckney Community Schools. Now, with that being said, I do have to say that on school buses, and this is part of the CDC mandate for public transportation, a mask is required at this time. When the CDC, we reverted back to loosening the mask requirements. Obviously, they're still mandated and required in airports, airplanes, hospitals, and then on public transportation. And school buses do fit into that realm. So if you're riding a Pinckney school bus, you are required to wear a mask. So please make sure that you hang on to those, put them in your backpacks, wear them on the bus. And then our hope is that you continue wearing that when you enter the building as well. So please just want to make sure that's not negotiable. That's not anything that we can change. And that is a requirement as per the CDC. That is the one mandate that they have. So please know that. And the masks do work, in terms of protecting yourself. People have, fears of maybe getting COVID. And so if you have that fear, to wear a mask, it definitely helps protect others with that. And so we want to continue making sure people know that and they understand that. And been talking to doctors. There's some people who feel like masks don't do an effective job protecting themselves or others. And they do work both ways. They do help those around you, and they help yourself as well. So as we move forward, I do want to let you know, when I'm talking about data, is that we have been paying attention to our kiddos who've been part of our Pink Knee Pirate Camp throughout the summer. We've had up to 90 kids per day, and we have not required masks, and we've made them optional. We've had some kids and staff members wear masks in those environments, but these kids have been together for, oh gosh, 2.5 months, and we have not had one case. And so I do want to let you know that. And that has held true in Livingston County. All of us run some sort of summer programs. None of us have required masks, and we've been paying attention to that. And that has actually gone off very well and has been very successful. So that's been a really local data point we've been using as well. So with that being said, as we look to the school year, I know I have some questions about quarantining. We don't have hard and fast guidelines as of this point in time. I know the health department is still working on that. We've been really lobbying with them to make sure that we do whatever we can to minimize the impact of student learning to families at home. And last year, it resorted back to 3 feet instead of 6 feet. And I'm sure that's going to stay true. We have now vaccinations that play into this. For those who are vaccinated, we're not required to be quarantined. You know, we're asking parents to just watch for, you know, symptoms and things of that sort, maybe get kids tested. So I'm sure a lot of that's going to be kind of playing into the guidelines for this year. But once those come out, we'll definitely share those with our school community. We are going to ask that parents continue to monitor your kiddos. If they're exhibiting symptoms, you know, the common symptoms that we've grown accustomed to, please keep them home. I think that really helped last year. Myself included, my kids were sick. We said, stay home. We're still utilizing our tools such as Seesaw, Google Classroom. Want to make sure that students, if they're at home, they can still access what the materials were that they need to stay on top of their learning. We don't want kids to fall behind. And so please make that known and feel confident that, you know, kids will be okay. They were okay last year. They're gonna be okay this year if they have to stay home. But please, we ask that you respect that. If kids are home or kids are sick and they're exhibiting symptoms, that they do stay home. We're going to continue doing necessary cleaning. We don't have to do as extensive cleaning as we did last year per the CDC guidelines. They've definitely found evidence that the contacts were not a primary place where COVID is transmitted. But, you know, we'll be cleaning at the end of the day, cleaning throughout the period of the day. Teachers are not going to be required to do all the massive cleaning in between every time somebody sat at a different table. They did last year. That was an extraordinary effort on their part. But but we're still going to be paying attention, and then those high frequency areas, our bathrooms, our cafeteria tables, lockers, and things of that sort, and making sure that we're doing everything we can on a daily basis to make it as clean and sterile as we possibly can. So just wanted to put that out there. We are going 5 days a week. There's no virtual on Friday, and we're not offering a PVA. And some may be asking, why is that? I think just about every school district put out surveys sometime late last year. The interest was extremely low, and this is kind of true across the board. I think 3 of us in Livingston County are not offering the virtual academy just because we're smaller districts and we just didn't have numbers. And, you know, kids were spread all across the board, K-12, and, you know, we have to create sections of class with 25 to 30 kids in a section to maximize our human resources. And we just didn't have that. And that's pretty much true throughout the case. So that's not an option. We still have our Michigan virtual option for kids for specific situations at the high school level that we've had for many years, and we continue to offer that for certain circumstances for classes that we don't offer at the high school the kids need to graduate. But overall, we're not having a PVA experience as it was set up last year. So just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that. And lastly, you know, once again, it's important to know as we move forward that whatever decision that we make, I've shared the decision that we have right now. If or when it changes, that's where it is at that time. It's not a forever decision. You know, this is what we're doing today. It could change in a day, a week, a month, given the situation or given a requirement that we have. And it could be possible that, you know, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services or our own Livingston County Health Department issues a mandate for masks. And if or when it happens, we will have to accommodate and follow that. And but for the time being, we feel comfortable we're at a place in Livingston County where we're at with the transmission rates that we can move forward with the state recommendations of having those, you know, enter our buildings, to strongly encourage them, recommend that they wear masks. You know, obviously, the vaccines are available for our students, 7 through 12. It's been available for our staff. We feel confident with the high number of staff that we feel are vaccinated. is a good place for us. And if or when the vaccinations for ages 5 through 11, that will just be another asset to us. And so, but we know that's a personal choice, and we can't hang our hat on the vaccinations are going to fix everything. We're experiencing that right now, is that we're just going to continue managing and getting better each and every day, each and every week and month as we progress through this, and hope that these variants scale back, that we can minimize the opportunity for them to replicate. And we will continue to encourage people to get vaccinated, because I think that's going to give us the best opportunity to continue to move forward at a faster pace. So with that being said, thank you for your involvement. Always thank you for your support. I know this is a tough position for all of us to be in. It's a tough position for me to be in. There's no one way we can go that everybody's going to be on board. And that's just a reality. And we understand that. And, you know, once again, my frustrations lie with those who have the power to say, hey, this is what has to happen for everybody, not just schools, but organizations, stores. And, you know, last year we were successful because we all worked together. We all kind of had to follow the same regiment, the same protocols, the same expectations. And, you know, it may have to get back to that. I sure hope not. But, you know, I think that's what has to happen if we're in a true crisis, and that's where we need to go. So that's where we stand today. I hate to say it, it could change tomorrow. Usually when I did a presentation, I'd get information that would take away everything that I said. So, but that's where we move forward today. I understand the frustrations and concerns that people have, but please trust us that we're going to continue doing everything we can to make this a successful school year for our students. So with that being said, I will let you go. Thank you for your time. I know there's a lot of information. I appreciate everything you're all doing to help get your kiddos ready for the school year. It's going to be an exciting school year. It's going to be challenging, I'm sure, in just different ways than we anticipated. But this is a great group, great community, and I have no doubt that we're going to be able to continue providing quality experience, have fun, have some fun, a lot of fun along the way. And so just love being part of the community schools. So thank you, and we'll talk to you soon. And go Pirates.